I request Professor Pradeep Kumar sir to kindly welcome Professor Abdul Ansari sir with a bouquet. Please give a big round of applause. Such a senior person who is among us to deliver a keynote and to share his experience and knowledge for the generations whatever he have gained. The profile of the sir goes something like this. Professor Abdul Ansari is currently serving in the Department of Electric Engineering, Jamia Millia Islamia, New Delhi. He is an astute performer with a proven expertise in ensuring smooth operations of academic, research and administrative tasks. He possesses a potential for distinctive achievements through strategy, innovation and implementation. He is stickler for quality. He is a team builder to the core. And a natural motivator. He is popular among his students for excellent content delivery. Having completed 3 R&D major research projects, he has got hands-on experience in the installation and providing consultancy to one of the leading system integration companies of India.
Onyx Electronics.
Yeah, Onyx Electronics, dealing in the installation of and maintenance of traffic signal in major cities in the country. Professor Ansari is a senior member of IEEE and a chairman of IEEE Delhi chapter or section. He is a fellow of Institute of Engineers India and IETE Institute of Electronics and Telecommunication Engineer. He is also a member of National Telematics Forum India. Professor Ansari is a recipient of Raja Ram Babu Patil National Award for promising engineer teacher for creative work done in technical education awarded by Indian Society for Technical Education ISTE, New Delhi. Professor Ansari is a person with excellent experience in educational policy planning, curriculum development and human resource management. Sir, your profile is too encouraging. Thank you, sir, for being part of today's conference as a keynote speaker. The session is over to you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Assalamu alaikum. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Ladies and gentlemen, we have learned the art of underutilizing our times. Elaborate introductions of everybody, known to everybody else, but yet we love to describe their achievements in front of the audience, and Geeta has done excellently well, in fact, and not only for me but for every other guest who arrived here. Sometimes you feel awkward also listening just in front of your own face. Anyway, very happy to be here today morning, and the faces that I can see are quite enthusiastic, and I know they are enthusiastic about the topic that I have written here. Most often, the topics are quite well known when we go and listen. Some of it we may be knowing already, but here the term that I have used is something which is mostly unknown even to the people who have been working into the logics of computers. And it's not without any reason. This is the latest logic. We started with the Boolean logic. We developed the entire electronic circuits for that, digital circuits for that. And then came the fuzzy logic. Then came the intuitionistic fuzzy logic, type 2 fuzzy logic. And then there are vague set theory. I will go through the neurosophic logic in the end, but before that, with an introduction to whatever I want to discuss, the conference theme I have tried to capture through my lecture in the data, the computational science, and also the bit of the computer science that we have been discussing every now and then. So conceptualizing the neurosophic data leading to high performance computing. Now who will change the slides? Do you have the slide changer? Okay. Yeah, that's fine. I can use this. Yeah. Is it all right? Yeah. The difficulty that I will face is looking at it. That screen is quite too far from here. We are old persons. Anyway, I will try to be accurate. Now, what do you think? That's okay, perfect. Please concentrate at me. The lecture will not be for more than 40 minutes. 1:30 is our time for lunch, and I would not encourage upon the right that you have of taking lunch on time. So, numeric data. What type of data we might confront today? You know, having a plain number 4, 5, 1, 2, 6, anything is a plain ordinary number. But then do you also think that about 5 is also a number? About 5. Or 5 to 6 is also a number. And most often in our ordinary life, we talk about such numbers. 5 to 6. Sometimes when I evaluate the computer science MTech and MCA projects, and I ask them, in order to, they construct the entire idea, how many, blocks you have designed? सर 5 से 6 बनाए हैं. मैंने कहा कि अगर मुझसे पूछा जाए कि आपके कितने बच्चे हैं, तो मैं ये तो नहीं कहूँगा 5 या 6 हैं. भाई मेरे बच्चे हैं, मुझे मालूम होना चाहिए कि 4 हैं या 5 हैं. इसका मतलब कि प्रोजेक्ट आपने नहीं किया है. वो मॉड्यूल्स जो आपने डिज़ाइन किए हैं उसके बारे में आप कह रहे हैं कि 5 या 6 हैं, तो वहीं से प्रोजेक्ट्स की ऑनेस्टी का पता चल जाता है. एनीवे, बट दिस इज अ नंबर, and we always try to play with this number into our real life. Now, 5 to 6 is fine. Fuzzy type 2 covers this. Jerry Mandel is the researcher who described the algebra containing such numbers, a gap, a range. But then about 5 to 6 is yet another. And you will see linguistic data with which Lutfizadeh worked, cheap. I don't mean the cheap person, the cheap items, cost effective, so to say. Far away from here. Delhi is far away from here, but so is America far away from here. And the human mind immediately conceptualizes the phrase far away in the context of the thing. Oh, you are recording it through this. Okay. Good enough. So everything that we speak is contextual. Nothing is absolute. So far away, even the Makki Masjid could be far away from here for a person. And so far away is the USA. So it's contextual. Very big, not high, medium or bad. These are some of the phrases that we use and we mean it. और इंसान का दिमाग फ़ौरन इसको कॉम्प्रीहेंड भी कर लेता है कि जो कह रहे हैं वो ठीक है. But then there are functions and relations that we work with. fx is a function, and we have a whole lot of equations describing a function. Then about fx. So yet another adjective has been added to function fx, about fx, fairly similar to fx. The point is that we do understand the concept that could be a function which is fairly similar to a function. But then how do you describe the fairly similar? It should find a mathematical description of being fairly similar to whatever exists earlier. Likewise, much greater than fx. So these are some of the hedges of a given point that we try to discuss. And computing, the soft computing, which was propounded by Lutfizadeh, he described the method of computations with words like this that we speak. Okay? Theory of information granulation computational theory of perception. I mean, these are some of the theories based on which your AI has come up to the level that we have been using for every now and then, without really understanding what goes within it. The theory of perception and the computational theory of perception, understanding your mind. Those who are in the habit of using the chat GPT, and you have used it on a same system with the same login ID. If you have not logged into it, then of course it doesn't remember, but still it does remember if you use. So suppose I used some data a week ago, and I wanted some result today based on whatever I fed to it. It will understand that yes, ये आदमी जो कुछ हमसे कह रहा था एक हफ्ता पहले, इसको हम यूज़ कर सकते हैं. So what goes inside it is the computational theory of perception, because the chat GPT has been able to understand your concept of mind, what you think, the way you write. You can even describe that the way I have been asking you questions with smaller sentences, with broken English, with poor English, you try to write the answer also in the same manner, and you will find the result amazing. Even though the teachers of today have become expert of understanding the language of chat GPT. Incidentally, I happened to be in one of the conferences, and I was chairing few sessions. I could very easily make out some of the papers written by students using ChatGPT. It's so sad. I mean, something which was meant for our help has become our master. And we are trying to gain benefit out of it, which is certainly very, unfortunate. Anyway, so what are the areas of computer science and computational intelligence that we have been now looking at? Expert system, fuzzy control system, fuzzy logic, fuzzy set, granular computing, perceptual computing, rough set theory, soft set, vagueness, random fuzzy variable, multi-valued logic. When I did my master's from IIT Delhi, I worked on multiple valued logic, tertiary logic to be precise. And we tried to develop a transistor in which there are more than 2 levels to operate. The BJT or the field effect transistor, they operate either in switch mode when they are either in, the cutoff mode, they are off. Or if they are in saturation or they are in active mode, they work as on. So on and off. But could there be a third level also? That was our entire endeavor. Okay. So beyond fuzzy logic, the soft computing came, and the human linguist reasonings also. When we look at the various aspects of computational intelligence, we should know as to which method is used for what purpose. So not everything can be used for every aspect. Like in AI tools also, ChatGPT is not for everything. So the people can name 10 such tools, and each one is especially meant for doing a different work. So you should also know that if I'm trying to do this, for example, I'm going to make a PowerPoint through my artificial intelligence, which tool should I use? Likewise, fuzzy system is used where the things are imprecise. Neural networks are used for learning. You know it. You are very well aware. So the learning from the previous example. And then probabilistic reasoning is for uncertainty, and evolutionary computing is for optimization. So at various institutes, various techniques are being used for achieving those goals. Anyway, the machine learning that we are talking, you see, it encompasses so many of areas. I don't know whether you are able to read. See, knowledge-based system, hybrid systems, data-driven systems, nonlinear dynamics, pattern recognition. And here is the soft computing I will focus my lecture for next 20 minutes or so in this soft computing area, and we'll go up to the nutrosophic logic, right? The nutrosophic data that is so important for us to become artificially intelligent. Okay. Well, before I really go into that, here are a few questions for you. Oh, ये तो गड़बड़ हो गया. So I don't know कैसे लगाया है आपने. हमारा पावर पॉइंट तो ऐसा नहीं था, आंसर तो बाद में आता. अच्छा, आप पहले सवाल पढ़ लीजिए, जवाब तो है ही सामने लिखा हुआ. सो द इंटायर पर्पस ऑफ गिविंग दिस क्विज इज गॉन. एनीवे, ये हम लोग बचपन में सवाल पूछते थे, ठीक है, आप लोग इसको अप्रिशिएट करेंगे. लास्ट सवाल मैं दिखाऊंगा नहीं, दिखाने से पहले पूछ लूँगा क्योंकि जवाब वहीं पे मिल जाएगा. ओके, ये सवाल, ओह वेरी गुड, ये आ गया. पढ़िए इसे. Rubina has 6 pairs of black socks and 6 pair of white socks in her drawer, right? She wants to make a pair by taking out. How many socks should she take out in order to make a perfect pair? Question यहाँ पर है. In complete darkness and without looking, how many socks must she take from the drawer in order to be sure to get a pair that match? बोलिए फिर से. 13. वो कितने सॉक्स हैं? मतलब बहुत सारे सॉक्स हैं. जितने वाइट हैं उतने ही ब्लैक भी हैं. ओके, सो आप कई बार जवाब दें तो एक तो ठीक हो ही जाएगा. Yes, the socks do not have left and right, you know. So अगर 3 निकालेंगे तो कोई 2 तो या तो white होगा या black होगा. Good answer. Thank you. I don't have any क्या goodies for you. ठीक है. अगला सवाल मैं आपको लॉजिक में लाना चाहूँगा. I am going to discuss logic and there are logics for everything. Jayant was looking at a photo. Someone asked him, whose picture are you looking at? He replied, I don't have any brother or sister, but this man's father is my father's son. So whose picture was Jayant looking at? This man's father is my father's son. No, this man's father is my father's son. So he is looking at Jayant's son naturally. सोचिएगा. ओके, नाउ ये छोड़ते हैं. टिक टैक टॉ आप बहुत खेले होंगे बचपन में, और इसमें हम लोग बहुत जीतते और हारते थे. ये कुछ नहीं था, करीब आने का एक तरीका था. देयर इज नो बिग डील इन प्लेइंग टिक टैक टॉ. This is the last question and I would ask you to ponder over it. You put a coin in an empty bottle and insert a cork. Now you want to take out the coin without opening the bottle or without breaking the bottle. You are not allowed to take out the cork and also you are not allowed to break the bottle, yet you want to take out the coin. How is that possible?
Can you push the cork inside?
So you understand who is the cleverest one among us. Normally, the teetotalers don't have this idea, but cork can be pushed in. And that's the answer for it. Thank you so much. So, the intelligent breed we have already fortunate enough to get. Anyway, now in these reasoning examples, there are 2 things which are common. We are talking these reasoning and we are talking about data. We have to reason out first and then give the solution, and then there is some data, the socks and tic-tac-toe. Now, these logics started from the time of Aristotle. वहाँ भी उन्होंने लॉजिक्स का इस्तेमाल किया. using too much logic was not allowed those days, and that's why they created so many enemies. They were never liked during their lifetime. It's only we or the generations before us, which are not far away from the time of Aristotle and Socrates, they have started, thinking that yes, they were great people. So logic वहाँ से चला था. They had created certain, connections and or not and writing sentences. तो जो हम लोग अभी प्रोग्रामिंग में करते हैं, लूप लगाते हैं, एक्सक्लूसिव और करते हैं. सो ये लॉजिक प्राइमरली स्टार्ट हुआ वहाँ से, ट्रू एंड फॉल्स. सो इन आवर सोसाइटी डिस्क्रीट स्टेटमेंट्स वर नॉट अलाउड और द पीपल वर नॉट रेडी टू एक्सेप्ट. जो एक उनके दिमाग में धारणा बनी रहती थी, बस उसी के ऊपर वो चलते थे. इफ़ एनीबडी वुड सजेस्ट एनीथिंग एल्स बियॉन्ड दोज बिलीव्स would be an enemy of the entire society. And I will give you a very concrete example of this when I progress further. So the Boolean logic came quite late, but George Boole, he had the courage to give a mathematical formulation to this kind of a thinking, and the entire Boolean algebra, came up. And when it found the realization into electronic circuits, when you had the Bardeen and Shockley presenting you the semiconductor transistors, and the digital circuits were developed. So these all the Boolean logics, ये क्या है 1947, क्या है year 47, invention of transistors, Shockley and Bardeen. Bardeen is one person who got the Nobel twice. One in 1947 and one quite late. There are only 10 people in the world who have got Nobel Prize twice, and only one lady out of them. And if I ask, you will certainly reply. Who is that lady? Madame Curie, yes. And her husband got once. Okay, so we are fortunate. So when Bardeen and Shockley and one other person, there were three gentlemen who developed the, transistor, semiconductor transistor, and then the digital circuits were realized, and we started operating with them. So Boolean logic, what we understand, and we never agreed with Boolean. There is nothing in our life which is Boolean in nature. No binary. जैसे हम लोग कहते हैं ना yes or no, nothing like that. रियल लाइफ में हमारे समाज में कोई चीज़ बाइनरी होती ही नहीं है, मोर और लेस. हाँ भाई ठीक है, क्या हाल है, ठीक है. आई मीन वी स्पीक एम्बिगुअस, और लोग उसको समझ भी जाते हैं. आप ना बोलें तब भी समझ जाते हैं, आपके फेस एक्सप्रेशन से, बॉडी लैंग्वेज से. सो व्हाट इज़ दिस बूलियन लॉजिक? मैं एक बहुत क्लासिक एग्जाम्पल लेके आया हूँ. आई एम एन इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर प्राइमरीली. So when I say the bulb glows at a voltage of 220 volt, और इसको बाइनरी फॉर्मूले के साथ देखा जाए, the bulb should glow only at 220 volt and nothing else. तो बाइनरी अगर आप रिप्रेजेंटेशन करें, so at 220 volt the bulb glows. So the membership value to this statement is 1, यहाँ पर 1 है, at 220, and 0 otherwise. But this never happens. Bulb still glows when the voltage is slightly higher or even lower. तो ये एक्चुअली ये सेंटेंस, हालांकि हम बोलते हैं, समझते कुछ और हैं, तो ये बड़ा फिलोसॉफिकल है. यू स्पीक समथिंग बट यू अंडरस्टैंड समथिंग एल्स. इन बिटवीन द लाइन्स जिसको ग्रामर में कहा जाता है. ओके, ये क्या है एग्जाम्पल? टॉल और नॉट टॉल. अगर आप डिफाइन करें कि व्हाट इज़ द हाइट ऑफ ए पर्सन दैट वी कैन कंसीडर टू बी टॉल, बहुत डिफिकल्ट है. अगर आपने डिफाइन कर दिया कि 1.8 मीटर इज टॉल, इसका मतलब है कि उससे ज़रा सा कम और उससे ज़रा सा भी ऊंचा वो टॉल नहीं हो सकता. सो नॉट टॉल इज ऑन आइदर साइड ऑफ बीइंग टॉल. दिस इज क्वाइट नॉट पॉसिबल. टेम्परेचर की बात करते हैं. If you try to define temperature low, warm, lukewarm, hot, very hot, extremely hot. So these are the boundaries in terms of the Boolean expressions. But it cannot happen कि आप 20 डिग्री सेल्सियस को तो कहें warm and 20.5 को कहें hot. Very difficult. But yes, so if we actually want to represent a situation कि more or less की भी बात आ जाए और हमारी understanding mathematical form में भी correct हो जाए, these mathematical formulations have been developed. Okay, so here is the gentleman Lutfi Zadeh. नाम सुना है आप लोगों ने? He is the gentleman who propounded the fuzzy logic idea. He went away from the concept of Boolean, from the binary, and he said, no, the life is not represented actually by the binary logic or the Boolean logic. We need to do something more. So, okay, he said that a statement, today is sunny, can be true if there are no clouds whole day. Today is sunny, but 80% true if there are few clouds and mostly sun. 50% true if it's hazy in between, and 0% true if it rains the whole day. Okay, तो ये fuzzy को define करने के लिए उन्होंने कहा, he expired in the year 2020. He worked at the University of California, Berkeley. He was a very friendly person. Many of the Indian students worked with him. Okay. Fuzzy logic ने अब क्या कहा कि जो हमने example लिया था basics, the bulb glows at a voltage of 220 is now expanded. So we have represented the same statement with the help of a trapezoid. The bulb can still glow and can have a membership function of 1 for voltages less than 220 and more than 220. Only when it goes to the extreme ends, it, या तो डिम हो जाएगा, बल्ब बुझ जाएगा, या फिर बल्ब फ्यूज हो जाएगा at higher ends. So how to represent this curve mathematically? So Lutfi Zadeh suggested that you collect the points and corresponding to these values. So take the x-axis as the voltages, and on y-axis you take the membership values. So between 0 and 1 you can do the collection of points. And how they can be collected? Okay, वो expression बाद में आएगा. Okay, I will show you the collection. This is the figure that shows you the representation of temperature, which is in between. So a temperature could be lukewarm and warm in between. So this has got a triangular representation. Fuzzy set came into this being, and he started working with those values which was collected onto the membership value as either by trapezoid or triangular values. So the collections are represented either with a integral sign or a summation. This doesn't actually mean integration or summation, but they are rather showing the collection of points. If they are a discrete collection, it is summation. If it is a continuous collection, it is integration sign being used. So now around 220 volt is a word. We can say that yes, around 220 volt is something which is valid word through which we can do computation. And how to around 220 can be represented is this. So actually we have got membership value of 1 for 220, and then less membership value 0.8, 0.6, 0.4 for voltages less than 220, and for voltages greater than 220 again the value of membership is less. So that is how we represent and collect the points. My idea is not actually to teach you the fuzzy logic, but I want to take you to the journey of the logics that evolved over a period of time and where we are as on today, right? Okay. Inference जिसे कहते हैं, the work of inferencing, and that is how the artificial intelligence has been doing so intelligently. Inference, आपने एक दिन काम किया, कोई लॉजिक उसको समझाया, अगले दिन आपको वो लॉजिक समझाने की ज़रूरत नहीं है, because he infers from the previous knowledge. एक बच्चे को बोलते हैं वे पंखा को स्पीड तेज़ कर दो, by moving the knob right. So he knows it. He understood कि अगर ये नॉब है रेगुलेटर का, इसको हम राइट मूव करेंगे तो पंखा का स्पीड बढ़ेगा. दिस इज द नॉलेज यू गेव वन डे. नेक्स्ट डे यू टेल कि ये पंखा का स्पीड कम कर दो. ही इन्फर्स फ्रॉम द नॉलेज दैट ही रिसीव्ड फ्रॉम हिज मदर द नेक्स्ट डे कि अगर राइट को मूव किया था तो बढ़ाया था, तो अब लेफ्ट को मूव करेंगे तो कम हो जाएगा. दिस इज नोन एज इन्फरेंस. So the inferencing mechanism is one of the greatest techniques used in computer science. The knowledge base and then inferencing. Okay. So here is the knowledge. If the water is very hot, then add plenty of cold water in order to make it cool or cold. So ये एक knowledge है. Add plenty of cold water. So each one can be represented mathematically. Very hot can be represented mathematically. Plenty of cold water can also be represented mathematically. And this can be understood by the computer. Next day, the fact is that the water is moderately hot and it will infer that it requires addition of little water in order to bring to that level of temperature. So inference mechanism is very important, and we do all this in our artificial intelligence. Relations. If a man is young, he can run faster, man or woman. So if somebody is young, one can run faster. So how can you define young? How can you define the running fast? So you use the fuzzy logic for that. So let us say that if somebody is 25 years of age, is perfectly young, and anything beyond that, we will give the lesser membership value. But cleverly, I have started with the age of 20.6, 30.8. I have never taken one as to be perfect young man, because everybody will differ in his or her opinion. How can you say that the 25 is the perfect young, 30 is the perfect young? And therefore, so you can define with your understanding. And what is the fast running? So you can define like this. So ये दो आपके पास predicates मिल गए. Now with this you can go for, so for everybody becoming young could be different value. And then accordingly, if we use the fuzzy relationship, we can find out how fast a person could be a runner. तो उसका तरीका ये है, फजी इन्फेरेंस रिलेशनल सिस्टम में आप इनपुट डालिए और आउटपुट मिल जाएगा. हाउ डू वी कंप्यूट दिस इनपुट एंड आउटपुट? वी गो थ्रू द मैट्रिक्स कैलकुलेशन एंड वी डू इट. I will leave these slides for you to go through it and understand the logic of calculation. So fuzzy logic gained importance. It was a tragedy. For a very long time, people did not accept the fuzzy theory. When Lutfizadeh propounded it, very few people agreed. And the IEEE transaction did not accept the research papers and mathematics papers of fuzzy to publish. So, and they did not agree to publish a separate transaction for fuzzy logic. So Lutfizadeh and his entire team started publishing with Systems Man and Cybernetics and the IEEE transaction on neural networks. But it was, early 80s that we started the transactions of fuzzy logic. And the greatest enemy of fuzzy logic were the probability theorists. जैसे लेके हमारा काम probability theory से चल जाएगा. They never accepted it. So there was a tussle between mathematicians and engineers in this respect. Okay. Now, when Ibrahim Mamdani, the first person to implement fuzzy logic in industrial application, the cement kin theory, and Ibrahim Mamdani was professor at King's College London. He delivered a lecture in Delhi in Delton Hall, and there was some advertisement, and I personally went to listen to him, and I found the man is an Indian. So Ibrahim Mamdani is from Pune, and as on date in the entire world there are only two models of fuzzy control. One is known as Ibrahim Mamdani model, and other is Takagi Sujino model. We still work on those two models for our engineering control systems. and I listened to him. So after his experiment in a cement kiln control, the fuzzy logic gained importance and people started working on it. I don't know, Sujeno, Yamakawa. In 2011, the first IEEE was held in Hyderabad. There is a convention center in Hyderabad, big convention center. So IEEE, first IEEE, every year this conference is held. Perhaps now, 30th or 32nd, edition of this conference will be held. So it keeps changing places. And at that year, the chair was Professor N.R. Pal from ISI Kolkata. He was the general chair of the conference. And I participated in that conference. So every giant, including Lutfi Zadeh, R.R. Yagar, Ibrahim Mamdani, Takagi Sujeno, everybody attends that conference to exchange ideas. And what happens there? The paper presentations start at 9 a.m. No wait for inauguration. In between, somewhere the time is found according to the convenience of the chief guest, half an hour inaugural and finished. So that they have. आज भी अगर हमारे प्रदीप जी को 200 पेपर्स प्रेजेंट करवाने होते तो आधे दिन का इनागुरल नहीं करवाते ये. So that's why I said in the beginning we have known the art of underutilizing the time. I would not say killing the time. Okay, so probability की बात आई. Probability वालों ने हम आपको दिमाग लगाने के लिए नहीं कहेंगे कि हम कंपेयर करें इनको. I will move forward. तो इसके बाद फजी चिप्स आ गई, फिर फजी वॉशिंग मशीन्स आ गई, फजी कैमकॉर्डर आ गया. Applications now, as rightly told by our chief guest today, that now the artificial intelligence has entered into our household names, social sciences, history. Economics to science hai. History. My daughter pursued MA History from JNU and her dissertation was using artificial intelligence. So, ये आज की डेट का काम है. In finance and other areas, statistics, social sciences, behavioral sciences, all that, medicine, everything. सब computing and ये हमारा picture ख़राब कर दिया है आपके system ने. Well, now this is the the way in which the theory progressed. It started with the multiple valued logic जो हमने अपने ज़माने में काम किया था. इसके बाद Lukasiewicz logic, post logic, fuzzy logic, rough set theory, vague set, institutional fuzzy, type 2 fuzzy, and then neurosophic logic. एक मिनट इन सब के ऊपर मैं बोलूँगा और मेरी बात ख़त्म हो जाएगी, क्योंकि आज की डेट में इन सब से होते हुए and we have been in touch with all these people who have worked. मल्टीपल वैल्यूड लॉजिक तो हम सब ने काम किया है, ख़ुद अपने ज़माने में काम किया है. इसके बाद आया लुकासेविज लॉजिक. ही सेड, ही द फर्स्ट पर्सन हु सेड कि हम दो लॉजिक के ऊपर क्यों काम करें, वाई कांट वी हैव द थर्ड वैल्यू. तो 0 और 1 के बीच में ही सेड दैट undetermined could be one another stage and we could find some circuits who could be implement the Lukasiewicz. Then came the post. He said कि अगर 0 और 1 के बीच में 1 बना सकते हैं तो 10 क्यों नहीं बना सकते हैं. So his idea was very close to this decimal logic. Between 0 and 1 we have 8 more values. That is what is decimal. If the computers directly understand the decimal logic, it would be much easier to do the programming. We do the programming high level, low level, machine language. Why? Because it's all binary logic that ultimately goes into the machines. Okay. Rough set theory, on which Professor K.K. Biswas of IIT Delhi worked, and we also worked together. We have some publications on rough set theory in which he tried to say that there cannot be a discrete boundary between the belongingness and non-belongingness to a particular set, but we can always create some clouds, some gray areas, and we can define the boundaries like that. Some of the elements can belong to both of these areas. Then came the vague set theory. Gow and Borer, I could not find his picture. There are two gentlemen who defined the vague set. तो जैसे हम सेट थ्योरी में कहते हैं या प्रोबेबिलिटी थ्योरी में कहते हैं कि इफ़ the degree of belongingness to a particular set is 0.4, so the degree of non-belongingness is obviously 0.6 because both of them have to add to 1. He said no, not necessarily. We can even be having a value which is greater than 1 or even less than 1. So the belongingness and non-belongingness are not exact complementary to each other. They are slightly, misplaced. And came the institutionalic fuzzy set. He said, we will now give definite values to the belongingness and non-belongingness and then undeterministic separately. And he said that we will define, the mu and nu. Mu tha ke bhai 0 or 1 ke beech mein, but then nu is something which will define something which is non-belongingness. And he gave an example. Suppose we vote for in an election. So there are a few people who would vote for a party. There are a few people who would not vote for that party. But then there are a few people who would not vote at all. So how to capture that audience which has not gone for voting at all? So there is any mechanism to consider them also and make a group of the entire set that we have been defining, and he said that the intuitionistic fuzzy set is the right answer. We have tried to compare it. Ultimately, they culminate into a system which goes to the system of ambiguity, indecisiveness, impreciseness, and provides a mathematical solution to all such kind of elements. The new logic, which is neurosophic logic, has the quality of all such logics that we have discussed so far. And in neurosophic logic, it is said that we even capture such ambiguities which are paradoxes in life. Those who have come from the 12th class, 12th standard, and they have studied the Schrodinger cat theory. And the Schrodinger cat theory, they discussed about a particle being present at two different places at the same time. That's the entire, philosophy of Schrodinger wave equation. And it is said that when Schrodinger wrote the wave equation, the world was never the same again. The concept of being present at two different places at the same time. Now, how are you going to capture that particle mathematically? जब हम अल्लाह की बात करते हैं कि वो हर जगह है, हम उसके रुबूबियत को हर जगह महसूस कर सकते हैं, तो लोगों को मुश्किल होता है समझना. बट नाउ दिस इज अ फिजिकल explanation. Mathematical Schrodinger wave equation has proved that a quantum particle can be present at two different places at the same time. Now, how are you going to capture this statement mathematically is shown by the neurosophic logic, which is propounded by Florentine. Okay, he is the gentleman. पढ़ने में आ रहा है? Okay, one by one. It's important, but not understood by humans. Okay. So I would try to explain with some more example and then we'll provide you the quantum mechanics की बात मैंने आपको बता दी. तो इन्होंने बात कही कि हम true, false और indeterminate तीनों की बात करेंगे. And all three can have definite values. तो एक स्टेटमेंट सच भी हो सकता है, झूठ भी हो सकता है और इनडिटर्मिनेट भी हो सकता है. आज की डेट में अगर आप कोई बात सुने, एक जुमले की बात कही थी प्रदीप ने, तो वो सच भी होता है, झूठ भी होता है, और बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो कहते हैं ठीक है, हो भी सकता है, तो बीच बीच की बात भी होती है. सो अब इसको कैप्चर करने के लिए इट मीन्स वी कैन गिव अ वैल्यू 1 टू ट्रूथफुलनेस, वी कैन ऑल्सो गिव अ वैल्यू 1 टू फॉल्सहुड, and then indeterminacy has also a full value of 1. अच्छा, आप ट्रूथ और फॉल्स में everything, if it is true, there could be some absolute truthfulness and there could be some mild, normal truthfulness. कि भाई आप बहुत खूबसूरत हैं, ठीक है, आप खूबसूरत हैं, हम आपको 1 देते हैं, बट आपसे भी ज़्यादा कोई खूबसूरत है, उसको क्या देंगे? सो वी हैव ए प्रोविजन ऑफ प्रोवाइडिंग 1+. और एक आदमी झूठा है, सब लोग बोलते हैं, लेकिन उससे भी कोई बड़ा झूठा है, तो उसको 1- देंगे. एंड दैट इज वाई आई हैव यूज्ड ए ओपन एंडेड ब्रैकेट. है कहीं पर? अच्छा चलिए, कहीं आएगा. उससे पहले हम आपको सच और झूठ की बात बता दें. एक एग्जाम्पल बहुत प्यारा सा मैं लेके आया हूँ. दिस इज ए जेंटलमैन who was almost contemporary to Aristotle and Socrates, Epimenides, from Crete Island. It's an island close to Greece. इन्होंने एक बार कहा, all Cretans are liars. ये philosophers ऐसे ही बोलते थे, जो सबके समझ में आने वाली बात नहीं. He said कि all Cretans are liars. लोग उसकी जान को आ गए. वो कहते, come I will explain to you. He said all Cretans are liars. I'm also a Crete, and therefore whatever I say is a lie, and therefore you are not liars. You understand this point? But the point is, unless this statement is correct, he cannot be a liar. And unless he is a liar, the Cretans are not liars. So this is a very vicious circle. People have done a lot of researches on this philosophy. Now, how to represent this statement mathematically, a statement which is true and false at the same time? इसको कैप्चर करने के लिए न्यूट्रोसोफिक लॉजिक आया. इसके ऊपर अब काम हो रहा है. हमारा एक स्टूडेंट है जिसने न्यूट्रोसोफिक न्यूरल नेटवर्क्स के ऊपर काम किया है. उसकी PhD हो गई. We have got very good publications into that. So, there is a lot of scope to work. People start thinking, एक साहब ने कहा कि अब कंप्यूटर साइंस का ज़माना अब कम हो रहा है धीरे धीरे. हमारे यहाँ तो अब इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड कम्युनिकेशन में एडमिशन ज़्यादा हुए हैं और कंप्यूटर्स में कम हुए हैं. वो कंप्यूटर्स में कम नहीं हुए हैं. आप जब 10,000 बच्चों को एडमिट करते थे, तो अगर 9,500 का हुआ है तो कम कहाँ हुआ भाई? कम उस दिन माना जाएगा जब आप 100 बच्चों को लेते थे और उस 100 में से 95 आएंगे या 90 आएंगे. सारी यूनिवर्सिटीज़ ने दे क्लोज्ड ऑल ब्रांचेस and went only for computer science. तो ये तो होगा. So no field is stagnant. Lot of scope to do researches. You can write to this gentleman, Florentine, and work with him. Most of the people working with him are Asians. People from India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, Nepal. I mean, he is fond of such people. I don't know why. Maybe they must be giving him good food, Indian cooked food. To him. He loves. And these people are so generous. You write an email and they will respond quickly. Very nice people. And you can enter into dialogue, write your problems, give some insight into their own researches, and they would love to agree. Okay, तो इसके ऊपर हम ये open ended bracket. ये सब स्लाइड्स इधर से उधर हो गई. वाहिद साहब ने थोड़ा लेट हमको बताया लेक्चर के लिए है, लेकिन बहरहाल आई हैव ट्राई टू कलेक्ट many of the things. It's the organization of your mind rather than organization of the PowerPoints that makes all the difference in delivering lectures. So we have the truthfulness 1+. एक से भी ज़्यादा हो सकता है. The sun rises in the east for Indians. अल्लाह एक है, तो अब इसको दीजिए 1+ दीजिए, 1++ दीजिए. बट अगर कोई ऐसा है कि साहब आपका लेक्चर अच्छा हो रहा है, हम कहेंगे 1 दे दीजिए. बट इट कैन नॉट बी 1+. देयर कुड बी समबडी हु कैन स्पीक इवन बेटर. लाइकवाइज 0-. तो इसके ऊपर जो लॉजिक बना, जो मैथमेटिक्स डेवलप हुआ, हम आपको वो दिखाना चाह रहे हैं. इस तरह से डेवलप हुआ. आई वुड विश दैट यू ट्राई टू अंडरस्टैंड दिस mathematics of nutrosophic logic as you have understood the binary logic mathematics. So a whole lot of mathematics has appeared for this. There are decisions which are now being taken. We don't need the Param computer for this calculation. Now with even lesser computations, you can find out results which are quite complex yet realizable. So in these 4 lines of red, it has been proved that the Boolean, the nucleosophic logic boils down into each logic with different values of truth and false and indeterminacy. For example, if there is no indeterminacy, and the values of the elements within the given set are between 0 and 1, it is the Boolean logic. Likewise, you have the multi-valued logic, you have the fuzzy data and others. So what I would say, that whatever fuzzy data we described in the beginning, about 5 to 6, Jerry Mendel, about 5 Lutfizadeh, like fx, about fx, less than fx. So nucleosophic logic is a superset of the fuzzy logic that we have described so far. And here I have given some example of control theory, that for a robo which is moving towards a wall, how should it behave if we apply different types of controls, the discrete control, the fuzzy control, or the nucleosophic control. So those who have understood the control system of fuzzy, they would appreciate that there is a fuzzification, defuzzification, and in nucleosophic logic, ये है आपका fuzzification or defuzzification for the fuzzy reasoning. And the center of gravity has been used for the defuzzification. If it is a nucleosophic data reasoning, we have 3 values of fuzzification, one for truth value, another for falsehood, and yet another for indeterminacy. तो पहले 1 पर काम करते थे, अब 3 पर काम करना पड़ेगा. And there is no toolbox so far. The MATLAB has not created toolbox for nucleosophic logic. Maybe the day is not far away when we get a very soon a transaction on nucleosophic logic. So far we have been publishing into the transaction on fuzzy systems. Okay, so here there are 2 pictures I will show you. It has been sent to me by Florentine himself, and he said that we are trying to hit the target. The world is not accepting, but the time is not far away when we will be trying to hit at the real target. So it has always happened. दुनिया ने कभी भी किसी नई थ्योरी को बड़ी ही रेजिस्टेंस के साथ एक्सेप्ट किया है, and it was seen in case of Lutfizadeh that the fuzzy was accepted after quite some time, and Ibrahim Mamdani came to his rescue when he utilized his model, the fuzzy model, in the application of control systems. Here is this one. He said, okay, we are making noise from here and there. On the top is Florentine. आवाज़ कहीं तक तो पहुँचेगी और हम कामयाब होंगे. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for your patient hearing. I enjoyed talking to you. Now, if there are any questions, please go ahead. मैंने कहा था 1:30 बजे तक 1:45 हो गया. Otherwise, I will be available during the lunch, so you can approach me. I don't know, मैंने अपना email ID कहीं दिया था.
I have a question.
Please go ahead.
As you said, you have designed one logic that can be used even for ML algorithms.
Yes.
Yeah. We have a certain performance evaluation metric, this thing for assessing how well the machine learning algorithms are performing. So do we need to follow the same evaluation? Even for this,
When you go for a particular logic to be applied to a particular problem, as I told you in the beginning, that when there is ambiguity, uncertainty, and not definite, and if there are no mathematical models to work with, we go for the logics. So, and optimization के ये काम में आता है. तो there are many aspects of machine learning as well as artificial intelligence. So each technique caters to a different level of work. So we need to understand कि किस method को किस काम के लिए इस्तेमाल करना है. Maybe that nucleosophic logic may not prove to be the best for whatever you have been doing, and therefore try. and do the experience. Thank you. Yeah, please.
So can you please tell us a real world problem where the nutrosocial logic is must good work in compared to fuzzy logic?
Yeah, there are many. Fuzzy logic, we do not have any indeterminate state. But there are situations in which there are indeterministic state and you can't do away with it. Even in industry, in our real life, तो आपको एक 0 और 1 के बीच में भी एक स्टेट नज़र आएगा, या 0 और 1 की वैल्यू भी कभी कभी 1 से ज़्यादा होगी, 0 से कम होगी. ऐसी रियल अभी हम लोग इनको उसी स्टैंडर्ड प्रॉब्लम्स पे अप्लाई कर रहे हैं जिसके ऊपर ऑलरेडी फजी या इंट्यूसनेटिक फजी या टाइप 2 यूज़ हो चुका है. We have not gone and entered into the new problems which are really being faced. तो अभी तो ये लॉजिक टेस्टिंग स्टेज पे है. इंडस्ट्रियल एप्लीकेशन नो, unless we find a toolbox made for this industrial application. Somebody will come like Ibrahim Mamdani.
In the home appliances also we can.
Yeah, why not? But home appliances are not that complex. वहाँ उनको हम होता भी है लेकिन फिर भी सिंपल बनाने की कोशिश करते हैं. जिस ज़माने में फजी लॉजिक वॉशिंग मशीन आई थी, बीपीएल की थी शायद, वो इट वाज नॉट एक्चुअली फजी लॉजिक, वो लिख दिया था उन्होंने. देयर वाज नो इंटेलिजेंस इन्वॉल्व इनटू इट. इट वुड बिकम फजी लॉजिक इफ इट इज एबल टू डिसाइड द अमाउंट ऑफ डिटर्जेंट डिपेंडिंग ऑन द डर्ट ऑफ द क्लोथ्स, टाइम ऑफ रनिंग डिपेंडिंग ऑन द अमाउंट ऑफ क्लोथ्स. ये तो नहीं होता था. टाइम हम फिक्स करते थे, साबुन हम डालते थे, तो उसमें इंटेलिजेंट कहाँ से आ गया? बट मार्केट स्ट्रेटजी, सेल्स, लाइक दैट. थैंक यू, थैंक यू. ये बेटा बोलिए. नहीं नहीं, ये पूछ रही हैं पहले. हाँ बोलिए बोलिए. या
जितने भी रिकॉर्ड्स होंगे, जो डेटा सेट्स होंगे जिसमें हम लोग 0 और 1 की वैल्यूज इस्तेमाल किए, तो क्या हम उसको रिजेक्ट करके नया वाला डेटा बनाएंगे या फिर उसी को इसका यूज़ करके मॉडिफाई?
उसी में जो डेटा हमारे पास पहले से होगा उसमें देखेंगे कि अगर कोई सिचुएशन इनडिटर्मिनिस्टिक है तो वहाँ पर उसकी वैल्यू आ जाएगी. हम बहुत सारे डेटा को रिजेक्ट कर देते हैं. जब हम डेटा के साथ ऑपरेट करते हैं तो जब उनकी क्लासिफिकेशन करते हैं तो देयर आर फ्यू डेटाज विच वी डू नॉट अंडरस्टैंड और उसको हम इग्नोर कर देते हैं, माइनस कर देते हैं. लेकिन इस केस में हमें उनको भी वैलिड करना होगा और कर सकते हैं. तो आवर रिजल्ट्स विल बी सर्टेनली डिफरेंट. और रह गई बात के पढ़ने की कि हम अभी ये पढ़ रहे हैं और ये सामने आ गया. हम लोगों ने बूलियन लॉजिक इंजीनियरिंग में आकर के उसका नाम सुना था. अभी 8वीं क्लास के बच्चे जो है वो बूलियन अलजेब्रा पढ़ ले रहे हैं. तो आपको सिर्फ ये मालूम होना चाहिए कि सितारों से आगे जहाँ और भी है. बाकी पढ़ते रहिए आप. ठीक है. थैंक यू वेरी मच. आई थिंक इट्स एनफ. थैंक यू वेरी मच. गॉड ब्लेस यू ऑल.
ज़्यादा कुछ नहीं कहूँगी, but I can say that the most of the audience who were present, after seeing the very first slide, they must have got the thought that अरे ये कैसा टॉपिक है कि हम समझ पाएंगे. बट जैसे जैसे सर आगे बढ़ते गए स्लाइड आफ्टर स्लाइड, वी फेल्ट द थिंग्स वर रीचिंग अस, एंड दैट्स द रीजन वी कुड सी questions coming up, and there were more such questions in line, but because of the shortage of time we are unable to address them. I'm sure Professor Abdul Quaiyum Ansari sir would be addressing to your questions through your mail. Kindly communicate your questions to the mail. We'll be sharing the mail ID. Now I request Nahid Chaudhary to kindly convey the vote of thanks. Nahid Chaudhary is a student of MTech and also participant of today's conference. Nahid, please.
Good afternoon, esteemed guests, faculty members, and my dear friends. I am Nahid Chaudhary, MTech final year student, and it is both my privilege and honor to extend the vote of thanks on behalf of Department of CS&IT MANUU and all of us gathered here today. First and foremost, I wish to express my gratitude to our first keynote speaker, Dr. Abdul Ansari sir, Professor at Jamia Millia Islamia, Delhi, for gracing this occasion with his presence. Dr. Ansari, your insightful words and deep expertise have left us enlightened and inspired. Your thought-provoking lecture has not only broadened our understanding of your presentation, neurosophic data loading to high-performance loading, but also sparked a curiosity within us to explore, question, and engage more deeply with these ideas in the future. Your ice-breaking and interactive puzzles made this session more engaging and enjoyable for us. Finally, I would like to thank the participants and everyone gathered in the room for ensuring the success of this lecture. Thank you so much, and thank you for being a part of this memorable event, especially during the inaugural session of ICCMDN. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Nahid Chaudhary, for conveying the vote of thanks from participant as well. Now, as I said, the sir session was too engaging, right? Because I could see sir has still a lot of zeal in him because he was trying to bring the young minds to think in the direction of neurosophic logic. And don't stuck up with the fuzzy logic because there's a lot of scope in there in this thing. So, sir, the session was totally overwhelming. On the behalf of computer science, I request Dean Professor Abdul Wahid, sir, to kindly felicitate sir with a memento and a shawl. Please give a big round of applause as a mark of respect for such a senior person who is among us and who has tried his best, given his best to bring the young minds to bring in line with whatever he has learned and he has shared with us. Thank you.